Hello everyone and welcome back to the Alundra any percent speedrun tutorial. Last time we left off after Reptile Slayer, so now we need to head towards the town. So in this part we will do the death grind, which is kind of the only grind we need to do in this game ever. And the death grind basically means we need to die 20 times in order to unlock the most powerful sword in this game. And as I already mentioned last part, as of recently there have been some timings have been done and strats have been developed to maybe make the legendary sword obsolete. But as the strats that require you to skip the legendary sword increase the amount of RNG that is required to get a good time in this game, it is very inconsistent and very much harder to actually finish a run and save time without the legendary sword. So I will go, of course, over the strats that involve the legendary sword, because that's what you want to start out with when you learn this game. So it was measured that skipping the legendary sword can save upwards of 30 seconds to like 2 minutes if you get the RNG that is required. So let me equip the bomb here since we will need it. So entering this room there will be a little gauntlet coming up. We want to pull a bomb, place it there, charge our sword, attack like this, attack this one twice, and that bomb was a bit late so I didn't get the slime. Pull this bomb, stand here, and it hit all, nice. I thought that bomb was a little bit late again, but that was alright. Now just charge the sword, and that was perfect RNG. So this is a mimic. And as I said, the death grind is coming up, so you want to be under 5 health. Just for the sake of not having the clicking sound, I will not run into the spike ball again, but that's what you would want to do. To be at 5 health or less, and now we will just walk into the slime. Then we are exactly on 5 health. In this room, what I like to do is, I like to jump on the conveyor here, then let the conveyor drag me down to the end and then jump up. Wait for like half a second to a second and then exit the room, because if you exit this room too early, the wall that is blocking you from going here will still be there and you have to redo the room. So just make sure to not leave the room too early. So yeah, a bomb deals 5 damage, we have 5 health, that is pretty much perfect. We want to enter the safe room here. And then save our game and kill us with our own bomb 20 times. Since we don't need to do that for this tutorial, just skip it. And have the save state prepared for this. After killing yourself 20 times, for once make sure again to not have a Wonder Essence. And after we did this, heal yourself and get your magic back. Now we need the flail to hit this down. Then be a little bit careful, it can be tricky to get in between that. Falling down isn't too big of a deal though. And we want to equip our sword again, as there are going to be shadow enemies once more. Okay, I've messed this up slightly, but that was considered perfect RNG again. So this puzzle here is timed, but there are easy strats to get this, so basically just walk against the torch, shoot like this, shoot like this, shoot like this, and then shoot like this. Once again, walk against the torch, shoot to the right, jump down here, do a jumping throw, walk against the torch, shoot to the right, and then shoot this once and this on that side once. You shoot this once, you can't just walk against this and shoot like this. It doesn't work from the top, it only works from the bottom, so you have to go a little bit down and then shoot it. Then we head north in this room. Just damage boost through this since you will have full health reaching this point most likely. In this room it's also timed again, you need to hit this, then this, then this one. Now we want to grab the ice block and drag it to the left. Avoid this. And while we are falling down there, once we place this, the floor that you will see here in the square will disappear, and we have to hold left so we don't fall into the next hole again. Now pick up this. If you remember from Coastal Cave, this is essentially the same setup. You just hold right and press jump jump like this. Didn't get it there. Don't worry, this is a consistent strat. I just choked there for a moment. But yeah, just keep on holding left against the chest and jump jump. Just tap it like this. Here we have to be careful. I can show you on this. If we walk in front of those stones, a wall will close the path. So we have to either jump, or if you want to be super safe, just walk around it in order to not close a wall that would be here, that spike section. Now, when we fall down into this room, we basically want to spam the circle button to get a bomb out. Also, sometimes it just doesn't trigger like this. Place the bomb here, stand in the center to attract the slimes. Kill all 4. And now, there are more shadow enemies. What's with this RNG? Also, if you hit them once with your sword already because you couldn't charge in time, they die from 2 sword hits, so just go for a second normal sword hit again. Here we want to hold up, because we need to land in this room here. What we want to do here is basically charge our sword, and once they appear, wait for a split second and then unleash your charge. Because if you're going to release it as soon as they appear, they're going to disappear before you even hit them. Now for your first runs, this is definitely recommended. Go in here and grab this Wonder Essence. As you see, this is a really quick grab, and a Wonder Essence is essentially a lifesaver. If you happen to die on accident, it will revive you. Jumping puzzle is just... the button puzzle is just like this. Super easy. Doesn't need any explanation, I think. This room it's faster to walk into the door, so we want to do that. So if you remember from like a minute ago, this is essentially the same. Just press yourself against the button, jump jump, and you will always make it over there. So it's up to you now if you decide to whether or not damage boost through this, because it will deal a ton of damage, but it is faster. And in this room, take the ice block and just use it to kill the enemies. It's a one shot for them. And even if you get hit and drop it, the block doesn't shatter. So just use it to kill, to get rid of all the enemies. Since I'm a little bit low on health, I will just do this. And now if we drop down to the next room, what you want to do is you want to... At first you want to try to exit the room like in the top right area here. And then you want to press a bomb, or like spam the circle button if you go through the screen transition and get out the bomb as soon as possible. And the next room will be a little bit hectic with the thread, so I will try to pull it off once and then explain what I did. Okay, I didn't get it there. Let me try again actually. Nope, didn't get it again. This is tricky actually. Usually I get the first bomb, but the second one is the issue. Nope, I didn't get it again. So, what this requires you to do is, as soon as you drop into this room, if you go here and just place this bomb, the bomb will be ignited by the flame of this turret. And it will kill the first 2 mud guys. But you have, if your movement is on point and you can do it as quick as possible, you can place down a second bomb that will then also be ignited by the same flame ball and will kill the other 2 mud guys. But as long as you get the first 2 mud guys and just get rid of the other 2 manually, you still save some time. Don't worry if you don't get this consistently. As you just saw, it is not that easy to do. So now we need to enter this room, and this is a good opportunity, if you feel uncomfortable with your current health situation, to just shatter all the pots. Maybe also this, because this has a chance to drop an herb. It didn't do that there, but the chances are, it feels like it's more than, or let's say it's 50%, because it feels it's more than half of the time you get an herb, but it's probably like 50%. Now we want to get out of this room again, and shadow enemies will appear, and we have to reset the room in order to make them appear. So we want to stand on the staircase to limit where they can spawn, and that was essentially perfect RNG again. And this is a situation where it depends on what you want to do. Once we are going up there to the door, the 6 enemies to the left, 3 and to the right, the ones on the top won't come alive, but the 6 here will come alive. And depending on whether you want to keep your Wonder Essence or not, you can cast the Earth Book here. If you don't intend to keep it, cast the Earth Book here and use it on the boss to regain your mana, because you need 2 casts on the boss to kill it. But if you want to not keep, if you want to keep it, what you want to do is what I'm going to show you now. Essentially just trigger this and don't bother with the Earth Book. It loses time, especially if you get quite unlucky. But it is much safer because, again, Wonder Essence is such a good safety item. So you can either do it like this, because they die from 2 regular sword slashes. Do it like this, wait until they spawn, then hit them like this. And yeah, now you see the issue already. They can be quite trolly, in where they spawn and immediately disappear again. So yeah, it took me this long to get rid of all 3 of them on this side, and now on the other side, just to show you the other strat, you can try to go for sword charges, but that is just as bad, really. Those guys are literally quite trolly. So yeah, essentially, it took me this long, and this is what you can expect for a run as well. If you would go for the Earth Book, generally you get like, I would say at least 5 of them. It rarely happens that you only get like 4 of them. But it also has a chance to get all of them, and then you can just enter the next room. Yeah, it just depends on how comfortable you feel in doing this boss with 1 less mana. So you want to talk to Giles from the side, because once the fight starts, he won't be able to block you from going straight up in case the boss starts with a sucking attack. And we want to equip the Earth Book now as well, once this fight starts. And he starts with his sucking attack, so we want to cast it a little bit away from him, because usually when he starts the second sucking attack right away, he will get you with it, and if you cast it while being a little bit further away, you usually can get some ground before you cast the second Earth Book. And that already kills him. So just to go over the strats needed to kill them with just 1 Earth Book casts. I think it is 1 Earth Book cast which hits him 3 times before he cancels the cycle. And then you need, I think, 1 charge sword and 2 regular hits, or 2 charge sword hits. I'm not exactly sure anymore. But yeah, again, the Wonder Essence is only to make you feel safer for the upcoming dungeon, because we are heading to Magiskar now, and Magiskar already has another Wonder Essence. This one is rather towards the end of the dungeon, so you have to be able to manage this entire dungeon pretty much without a Wonder Essence if you use it on the boss. And let me tell you that Magiskar is a place where reroll abuse damage boosts quite a lot, so your health will always be in a rather scary situation. Especially since, as you see on my current health situation right now, you generally won't enter Magiskar with full health. It's not that likely. So I was talking about the early Fire One strat in the previous part, and this is the place where it will save most time getting it early compared to getting it later. Although it's really not that big of a deal in this dungeon, as you will see in about a second. Let me equip this and this. Go in here. So since we don't have the fire wand, we will rely on those torches for some of the puzzles. Basically get rid of them here, then jump down here, pick up this torch, ride this platform and get rid of this bush. So if you want to farm some health here already, you can do this with those two pots. I got lucky there. Right here, just get the timing down for when your iframes run out and basically just jump, and towards the end of your jump face the other direction so you get damage boosted into the direction you want to go to. So climbing up this ladder, we basically want to hold down our triangle button in order to initiate a dash without moving once we hit the top of the ladder. That prevents us from walking into the spike trap that is placed there. And just walk here. Sometimes you run into this guy, sometimes you don't. It's really consistent to walk between him and the wall because he usually doesn't move before you reach that part. It's still a bit tricky because to the left is the spike trap and to the right is he, so it really doesn't matter usually if you get hit by him or not. Okay, let me restart this room. I messed this up a bit. We want to pick up this here and throw it at him. Then when we jump, we can grab this torch from the bottom. Just get rid of those bushes here. Place those two barrels there. Preferably something like that to have place to stand on the right. Then we want to go up here. So if those mud guys would walk into your way there, don't throw the barrels up because you would hit the mud guys and then the barrels would shatter. Also, they are really inconveniently placed here. I think I can survive the damage boost over the spikes, but let's just heal to get rid of the clicking sound. Yeah, I would have survived this. No health drops here. So for the beginning, it's a really quick thing to do to go into the safe room, refill your health and your mana. So we don't need to hit the switch in the back here, just jump over this, enter this door with the key that we just got, then jump down here, go to this side, and try to stand somewhere around here to hit both of the spawners with one swing. They need 8 hits each. Then hit this once. It's worth sprinting a bit, but around here pick up a bomb and jump over there and throw the bomb down there to hit the switch. In the next room, it depends on how confident you feel with the strat, but essentially just enter this room, walk diagonally down, jump over to this platform and make an early cycle. It's rather lenient. You can start holding diagonal down right as soon as you enter the loading zone already. And then if you don't feel confident with that strat, just wait a cycle. So right here we can jump diagonally from there to the upper platform there. If we don't get this jump, just swim down here and walk up here. What we want to do now is there's one pixel to the right of those bushes up here that we can walk on. So we want to run into this bush, jump on the pixel and walk around them. No need to solve this puzzle. So in this room we could slide between the spike in front of us and the gap in there, but it is very tight to do and the spikes start dealing a lot of damage in this dungeon, so I generally don't recommend going for this. Pull a bomb here, stand there. Bomb should get rid of all of them. Was a little bit late, so we missed one of them. Pull a bomb here, go up there, Bomb hits all of them, and that's how you get rid of all 4 of them. If the bomb doesn't hit, just use your sword charges to get rid of them manually. This room plays a bomb here, and since there are no better strats, I was a bit late there. Let me reset this room. This time let's just do it without the bombs, since I was a little bit late. What you want to do is just this. If you don't have the fire wand, this is what you have to do to not rely on RNG, because turtles won't cooperate. Push the turtle upwards manually, and then jump over it so it looks upwards, and then make it flame the bush to get to the switch. This room, walk to the bottom and sprint across the entire room without having to deal with the enemies. So as I already said, spike balls start dealing a lot of damage in this dungeon, so you want to generally avoid them. Or at least you want to avoid the big ones. The small ones still are manageable, but I think the big ones deal already 5 or 6 damage. I think it's 6. That's quite a lot. So this guy will always start moving to the left, so unless you do a jumping pickup for the torches, you will most likely not beat this guy. He will hit you before you get to throw the torch onto the bush. And for starting out with this game, I don't recommend picking up torches with jumping, since you generally will just not pick him up and burn yourself. So, even though this is casually required, this jump is quite tricky, so what I recommend is pick up a bomb in order to make this jump a little bit easier. So don't have to worry about this one, because it will spawn once you're past it. If you happen to have the fire wand because you decided to learn it, burn those bushes, get the magic elixir. It's a really quick grab, you want to have it, unless you already have one like I do. And just to show this safety off, I will use this here. And there's a hidden wall that is right here. You can jump into it, and if you hold up, there's a chest that has the green potion again, the strength tonic. This is not mentioned in any guide whatsoever. Actually, one of our speedrunners, Spirex, found this. So we have to... Derp. You have to use the torch here to get past the first set of bushes. So what we can do now is we pick this up, try to fit in between there somehow, wiggle through this, but let's say, oh no, I failed this, or even the water extinguishes the torch. What we can do is run into this, grab a bomb and jump over this. It is a little bit tricky, as you see, but it is a backup that works. So even if you would lose your torch, you can still manage to beat this room without resetting it. So there's nothing to do in this room, just go to the next one. We're here, just pull a bomb, throw it on top of this one, and jump into the hole. So here, make sure to not fall down, why ever you want to do that. Activate the switch and then go into this door. So this is why essentially keeping your Wonder Essence is kind of like only if you really feel only if you really don't feel confident with doing it, because you get a magic elixir here, you get a Wonder Essence here, and if you really want to go all out with your safeties, there is a strength elixir up here as well. So the 3 best healing items all in one room stacked together. So for this part, there are 4 rooms with 4 challenges, but we only need to do 3 of them, and the reason for that is one of the switches is already in the position it needs to be on for the solution, so we can just skip doing that challenge, since we don't need to hit the switch, and you can only hit the switches and change their direction they are facing once we do the challenge the switch is assigned to. So yeah, knowing that, we can skip it. This is essentially the hardest puzzle in my opinion, because people tend to fail this. But just taking it a little bit slow at times, can be really easy to do. You can still mess it up every once in a while and no blame to you. The other two challenges are tremendously easier though. Especially this one. For this one you just go, equip your bow, walk to here because this is one tile lower. As soon as you're dropping, you want to face left, shoot your bow, hit the switch, and that was essentially the puzzle. Nothing to worry about here. And even if you wouldn't hit the switch, just climb up the ladder, try again. As easy as that. For the next one, I've seen a lot of people having trouble with this. Honestly, you shouldn't have any trouble with this because I will just show you. You pick up the torches and just throw them while holding down. And you will hit the 3 torches and just take the 4th one with you down and throw it like this. But don't do any fancy shenanigans by trying to jump and throw. Just keep on holding the down button and throw. And since you're throwing, it stops your movement from... it stops your movement and prevents you from walking down the cliff, and you will always hit the 3 torches that are aligned with this, and the 4th one, as you just saw, just take the torch down with you. It's a super easy setup to make sure to never fail this room. So now we need to switch to the sword because we can't hit those levers with our bow. So it's easy to sometimes miss the jump from this right one to the left one. Again, to make your life easier, you can pick up a bomb to make jumps easier. So for this room, the same deal again. Walk against this, jump around the corner. You can walk on the last pixel there on the thorns and just walk around them. It's really easy to do. So in this room you have 2 opportunities to get lucky. This is the first one with this pot. And then there is another pot right here. Didn't get lucky once. So in this room, what you want to do is you want to just keep on holding up and jump on this platform. It looks something like this. And just walk to the edge and this turret will never hit you. You can just ride through it. Same deal here again. You just jump against those thorns and then use the last pixel to ledge walk over there. So this is like a really tiny skip. Jump into this torch and then use your iframes to use the second torch as a platform to jump over. If you don't want to do that because you want to keep your health, just pick up the torch, ride the platform and get rid of those bushes. But there are 3 pots here where you can try to farm some health. I didn't get lucky. The next room has 2 spawners again, and you can get rid of the first spawner before it even gets to spawn anything. And this room is also 100% consistent because spawners are on a local timer. So once you enter the room, the time ticks down until they spawn, and it will always look the same if you have the timing. This is what it looks like. Basically just hit the first spawner 8 times, then go up here, slash the enemy that spawns before it can even move, jump up here and hit this spawner 8 times. If you have the fire wand, you don't need to do this, you can just, you know, get rid of the bushes. But if you don't, which you most likely won't have, then this is what you want to do. So now we want to have the sword and the earth book jumping down here. And really, the earth book is a super random spell. It is very inconsistent on this boss. Just stand roughly here and hope you hit at least once. I hit twice, that is perfect. And what I like to do is then wait until he gets into a good position like this again, and then cast it again. I hit the boss 3 times? Yep, 3 times. That is really good. If you happen to hit him 4 times, then after the 4th hit with the earth book, you just do 1 charge sword hit and the boss will die. Since I don't want to use my Wonder Essence and my Magic Elixir, I basically hunt him down with just sword charges now. Since keeping them now until when you need them. You saw he died really quick without having to use my mana there. Because from now on, the Wonder Essence and the Magic Elixir will be really useful for later parts, so if you can avoid to use them here, you want to avoid to use them here. Now, if you get really unlucky, let's say the Earthbook only hits once, then this fight obviously takes a bit longer, and you have to use more sword charges, but generally this fight takes like a minute, depending on how lucky you get with his movement. And talking about luck, it is actually not random whether or not this boss decides to recover his armor. It depends on how he moves, and I think it was something like if he moves towards the center, and while he does that, when you hit him, he will start recovering his armor, but it's pretty convoluted and you shouldn't really worry about it, just hit him whenever. So now we got the Wind Scroll, which is actually a pretty useful spell. We will use that quite a lot in this run, in later dungeons. And this is where I will cut this part of the tutorial, because we are 30 minutes in already again, or over 30 minutes. Just advancing this dialogue until we gain control again over Alundra. So thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something, and see you again in the next part.